Hey guys, what's going on? This is Jake's Reviews, coming at you with a review for Transformers Revenge of the Fallen Scout Class Ejector. If the brave little toaster was possessed by the devil. He's a Decepticon, and he's one of the kitchen bots that attacks Sam in his house because the Allspark Fragment activates him. You only see him briefly, but conceptually he was just way too good to pass up. I'm sure Hasbro had to make him. I mean, he's a transforming toaster. What's not to love? Despite the silliness of his alt mode, it actually does have some pretty solid detailing. As you can see, there's a lot of sculpted detail on here. The power switch and the timer is still sculpted on, although I think the timer is a little pointless because on toasters the two settings really are, hey wait, this is still bread, and Jesus, my house is on fire, especially if it's Ejector controlling the toasting. He also has little sculpted bread slots on the top of the toaster here, but they're not painted, so it just looks a little silly. It almost just looks like metallic divots in the top of his toaster mode. I feel like just some black paint in there would have been really nice. I might even do it myself. It'll probably turn out horribly. Also, the side panels are broken up a lot due to the transformation. You can see all these little lines around here. And if you turn them around, you basically see these hollow, also from the bottom. Now, I wasn't expecting masterpiece quality, considering he's just a scout, but I think another panel or two would have really helped just to cover up the back here, maybe. However, he does have a little electrical cord hanging off the back, which is a really nice touch and really adds to the charm. It's just a clothy thread, so it doesn't stay exactly where you put it. It'll just kind of flop down, but it still looks neat. I don't really know what kind of plug that is, though. Maybe it's European. Who knows? Overall, the alt mode is a little goofy, but it almost adds to the charm. And once again, it's a toaster. The transformation is pretty simple, even for a scout. Now, even though the transformation is simple, it feels like a lot of stuff is happening, and you do get a good difference between robot modes and alt mode. So basically, I'll pan the camera up here and begin. The first thing I do is pull out these little panels, slide them out all the way, and spin them around, and fold the feet out. And basically, his legs are done. Split apart his arms, just a little bit there. Pull this panel down. And then his arms up. And you got to be careful because the ball joints do pop off a lot during this part of the transformation. Flip his mouth up. Split his arms. And fold them to the front. Spin his arms around. Fold open these little panels here. And fold out his arms. Flip open his fingers. And close the panels again. I like that bit about it. I like panels opening and then closing again. And then you fold down his little secondary pair of arms here. And then the last thing you do is you fold this panel right back up. And there you have Revenge of the Fallen Scout Class Ejector in robot mode. Now, he's a little difficult to get to stand up. He has very, very tiny feet. So basically just going to get him standing here. Whatever. Now the robot mode actually looks really, really good. The most prominent feature is his big cartoony face, as you can see here. Looks like he's either in pain or he's about to murder your family. Now, while it looks hilarious and it really does fit the character of kind of the maniacal pyromaniac that is on the back of his box, it is very cartoony. It doesn't really fit in with the movie aesthetic. It actually almost looks like it should be long and animated. It's a very smooth line kind of deal. However, his robot mode does look still pretty good, and it's actually very unique. He has 4 arms, which is something you don't see a lot of. He also has very satyr-like legs. You can see they bend here, and they have kind of sort of hooved feet and little horns. So he basically looks like a little fiery demon, and I like that about him. He just looks maniacal, really, no matter what you do with him. You can kind of have him, both of his arms up like this, or kind of out and terrifying, and he's just really unique. And once again, same with Sideways, I really like unique robot modes. His articulation is actually pretty good. His mouth opens to a degree. It opens all the way there, or you can even get it to close a little bit. It won't close all the way, and it won't open straight up, but it will fold along the back here like that. And his primary arms here have little ball jointed elbows, and his fingers are also articulated. His arms, shoulders here are on ball joints, although they really only do rotate. They can go out a little bit, about to here, if you get them in the right place, but sometimes they do pop off a lot. However, the bad parts about his articulation is that his little secondary arms here are only on hinges. They don't look like much either. They're just kind of a side of a toaster. I like to keep them folded up just because they look a little better up like that. And his feet are so darn tiny that you can't really get him to stand up at all. Just the weight of his body. He has a pretty good center of gravity, so it's not completely difficult, but it's really tough to get him standing on a shelf. It's probably something to do with his tail, maybe. But just the way his feet are sculpted there just doesn't hold up his body very well unless he's right in the right place. As you can see, I can't get him to stand through the course of this whole video. And since they're so small, you can't get him to stand up. Really, the movement is kind of not important. He does have ball-jointed hips and knees, though. Little swivels on his calves as well. Like, once again, the movement is there, but you just can't take advantage of it because he won't stand up. But basically, overall, Ejector is a pretty good toy that needs to be bought just because of what he is. He's a toaster that transforms. That's kind of completely and utterly awesome. He was an instant buy from the moment I saw him. I couldn't pass him up just because of what he was. And he actually really isn't that bad. Even with his flaws, he's oozing with character and he looks great on a shelf. If you can get him to stand up there, of course. I say buy him. After all, scouts are only around $8 depending on where you live. Unless it's Europe. Sorry, Europe. But I say pick him up either way. So this has been Jake's Reviews, Connect's review for Transformers Revenge of the Fallen Scout Class Ejector. Thanks for watching, guys.